All right, what's up? What's up? What's going on, family? Welcome to Late Night with Jerry Was Loud Worldwide on Positive Power WXI. You're listening to the Live Jazz Experience with Lady Praise. That's right, Lady Praise and DJ Jazz Man. Right here, coming out of Chestertown, Maryland. That man's coming out of Owings Mills, Maryland. That's right, home of the Baltimore Ravens. Shout out to the Ravens doing that thing. Did that thing this past weekend. That's right, they took down the 49ers. It was in their path. So anyway, we got a special guest tonight coming out of Florida. He's a big college football fan. You should probably see him wearing the U. That's right. Anyway, that's Gilbert Sines. He's a poet, spoken word artist. I think he's a spoken word artist. But anyway, he's here to share some of his new creations with us, and it's going to be a great show. Could DJ Jazzman know a little bit about something about poetry? So we're going to talk to him too. So anyway, shout out to Lady Praise. She won't be joining us tonight. That's right, she was hanging out tonight. That's right, doing her thing. A little R&R. Yeah, we welcome everybody here to Live Jazz Experience, and thank you so much for being part of our podcast. And shout out to our Monday night triple podcast. That's right, Pep Talk with Paula Breon, The Testimony, and last but not least, Shay Sams on Late Night with Jerry Was Live. All of them threw down last night on the triple podcast. We hope you can join us on Monday nights if you know your show's not airing right now because the season is over. Come listen to a little podcast. We do a little bit of testimony. We get to know the music industry and talk about people's journeys. That's right, it may inspire you. I know a lot of us is, not used to this cold weather coming in so soon, so fast and swift. Sometimes it can bring you down a little bit. We used to being outside, outdoors, and, enjoying the outdoor, but can't do it now. It's getting chilly. So anyway, come warm up in the house and listen to, that's right, Positive Power WXI. That's what we do. We bring you the power of positivity right here on these airwaves. And, of course, don't forget, coming up after this show at 9:30 is Late Night with Dr. T. Dr. Trinell coming out of Florida herself. So you want to join that podcast right after this one. All right, let's talk to Jazz Man real quick. What's going on, Jazz Man? Chestertown.
How you doing? How you doing, Batman?
Batman is awesome, man. Thank you for joining us tonight, man, on the Tuesday night podcast. All right, so what's going on, man? Tell us a little bit what went down on Sunday, man. Batman didn't catch you guys on Sunday, but give us a little summary of what happened this past Sunday on the FM side.
Well, actually, we didn't have a show this past Sunday.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a show this Sunday.
Okay. So.
Yeah, but we will be on this coming Sunday.
All right, any special guests?
So we sort of, no special guests this Sunday, but we will be having a special guest coming soon. This is going to be a little different. Normally we have artists on. This guy, very interesting guy, he is really what you would call, I guess his own business, like a travel agent.
Mm-hmm.
And he do shows going to jazz concerts.
Oh, wow. So
because he actually is scheduling to go see Brian Culbertson in Reading, Pennsylvania in April. So this is going to be a little different. Someone who knows the music industry in terms of taking people to music festival concerts. And he's been doing it for at least off and on, I would say, over 30 years.
Wow. Now, he must...
He moved back to this area.
Oh, okay.
He said he was living in Delaware. And he restarted, and he's getting back into it. And this is going to be his first venture this coming April, but he's about to come on and start promoting his business venture, which he's been into for a while. So It should be interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like it. He must going to be. I think I'm gonna be there with him there because I think I'm there on the 15th. So you must be talking about the 15th.
Well, he's going to come after that.
Okay, because I supposed to be in studio.
I think he's going to come on at the end. I think he's coming on at the end of December. And you're coming on the mid-December.
Yeah. All right. Excited. All right. Yeah, we're going to have a little fun. It'll be Batman's first time hanging out with the FM side in Chestertown, and that'll be scheduled for the 15th. Hopefully the weather is all good. So Batman come to town, all is well, the road will be clear. All right, we're excited. All right. This guy that we have on the show, we're gonna have him introduce himself, but Batman been knowing him for a minute now. I think I've been knowing him for gotta be 6 years, because I think we coming up on our 7th anniversary, I believe, because we started in 2013. So is that right? Yeah, it should be our 7th anniversary or something like that. Maybe 6 year anniversary. So anyway, we've been knowing this guy for a minute. I say it got to be maybe 5 years. We've been knowing Gilbert. He actually comes on and do a nice piece on Valentine's Day for us. We always carve a spot for him to share his poetry to all the listeners out there, and it's always a really good show to me. He does a really good job. He's been in this thing for a minute. And he has a great story to tell. His journey is an incredible journey, and he get a chance to share, why he decided to get into poetry. And Jasmine, you know a little bit something about poetry, right?
I know a little bit about it. I'm going to learn from Gilbert, though.
Yeah. He going to teach us something, man. And we do have some of his tracks. He actually produced a video. I think it was this summer, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to try to pull that bad boy so we can play it. Probably have to play it at the end of the show before Dr. Trinell's show come on. But we may play it after her show, because we're going to be still on. We're going to be still live on Spreaker Radio, so we may have to play it after. So anyway, let's bring Gilbert on here so he can chit chat with us a little bit. What's going on, Mr. Sines? How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, Jerry? It's always a pleasure to be here. It's only through the grace of God that I'm here, man. And you know, if God raised me up, man, he could raise anybody up. You know, he got me from rock bottom, and it's just so great to be here. And I always get excited before I'm doing the show, man. Just great to be here, and great to be part of the Positive 21 family.
Amen. Yeah, you've been with us for a while, Gilbert. It's been at least 5 years, you would say?
Yeah, actually more than, I think you were right before when you said closer to 6, because I remember our very, very first show. I remember it was 306, and I remember it because whenever I'm feeling down, I share my testimony on it, and whenever things are going rough, because I've got a counseling job, and I deal with autistic kids and troubled kids sometimes, and when I'm really feeling like my back up against the wall, I actually listen to it, and it lifts me up, and I hear my testimony, and I'll never get tired of hearing it. It's just, man, God just worked so much wonders in my life, and I'm telling you, if it wasn't for the grace of God, I wouldn't be here right now, and I wouldn't be into poetry, and it's just, man, I'm just excited to be here.
Amen. Yeah, that was a powerful show, man. So that must have been, I guess according to your record, must have been 2014 then. I guess that sounds right. So we'll backtrack and get that date straight, because I need to know, because this is actually our anniversary month. December 21st was when Positive Power 21 was born. Yep, the website was up, and we was out there doing radio. All right, so real quick, Gilbert, just want to introduce you real quick to DJ Jazz, man, before he start dropping the questions on you. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
How you doing, Gilbert?
Hey, how you doing, Jazz, man? How's it going? You staying warm?
Yeah. So far, I don't mind it. When it get a little colder than this, though, it gets to me. But I'm okay with the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, amen. Yeah. I'm sort of, we're not used to this cold weather, so it's oh my gosh, it's yeah, man. I'm pretty comfortable too, trying to stay warm out here.
Yeah, but you were born in Detroit, though. You know a little bit about the cold, don't you?
Oh, no, actually, I was not, man. I do know, but you know what? It's been so long. Because I was originally raised in Miami, and I've been in Florida most of my life. That, man, once this cold weather hits me, man, it hits me hard, and sometimes I get sick because my body's just not used to it. And yeah, but it's really nice tonight. It's starting to feel like Christmas time. So, man, I like it nice and cold for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Now, before I get started, Gilbert, can you tell the audience a little bit about you? It's a short bio or artist statement, a little bit about you.
Okay. Before, Well, I can actually start like this because before I met God, my life was going downhill. I was going through many rough battles within myself, challenges with substance abuse, mental health, and things like that. And my life wasn't going nowhere. I accepted Jesus Christ in my life for the first time. And when I did that, that was the best thing that ever happened to me because I never felt the type of love, just that strong sense of love. I never felt it. The first couple of days, it's like when I was driving back, because I live in Orlando now. I used to live in Miami, and when I came to Christ, I was in Miami, and when I drove back, it's like the whole drive, everything was beautiful. Like the sunset was beautiful. I heard the birds singing. It's like Jesus was right there in the front seat next to me, and I just felt so peaceful. And I did a 360 with my life. I got my master's degree in mental health counseling. So I do counsel, and I do counsel substance abuse as well too. I did that. And if I wouldn't have found God, I wouldn't have had the patience. The place where I was at before I found him, I couldn't have done this. I couldn't write my poetry and express myself the way I do now. But like when I finally truly accepted Christ in my life, man, that was the biggest moment of my life. It just changed everything. And you see where I'm on Positive 21 Network with Jerry Royce and with Mr. Jazzman right now. I'm with you guys right now. You see how far God has lifted up my life, because before I was, I wasn't at such a good place. And, if he did it to me, he can do it to anyone. But man, just once I accepted Christ, because I knew he was there, just once I accepted him and allowed him to come into my life, that's when the real magic began. And it's just been an uphill battle since. I've had a couple struggles, of course, but I've been able to handle it. And, like I said, I go through God and sometimes give him my troubles. And I go to the lake that I have the, I think the video about that Jerry was talking about earlier. That's where I go to really connect with God. For some reason, I'm really attracted there. It's right by my church. And, I just walk around the lake with my problem, and I always find a solution. And it's just so peaceful. It's like my retreat whenever things get rough. And, like I said, it's only through the grace of God that I'm here. I'm doing my thing now. I'm really excited about the album coming out too, on December 20th. And I wouldn't even dreamed of anything close to that. If you ask me how I was 20 years ago, I'm not, I was trying to, lift myself up. I was just trying to survive. It's just a big difference. And I can't stop thanking God, because man, it's only through him that I was able to change. And man, it's just been awesome ever since.
Amen.
Oh, that's great.
That's right. God is good. Great. That's right. God is good. Yeah.
Now, Gilbert, I was reading your bio, and you first got your poems first published in 1984. But when did you?
Oh no! I think it was more. I only got the first poem that I got. I think was I got published in. I think it was about. Let's see. My first book came out in 2010. 2012. So it's about 2013 was when I got my first book, Spiritually Reincarnated. I got it published through Author House, and that's when my poetry. I started doing a lot of live performances, and that's when my poetry really kind of started. My career started taking off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And my next. Now, what inspired you to start writing poetry in terms of being published? Because everyone, a lot of times people write poetry, but they write for themselves.
Yeah, and that's kind of funny because, like, with the poetry thing, like, I never knew I was a poet. I didn't start writing my poems because right now I'm 45. I'm sorry, and I didn't start writing my first poem till I was like in my 30s, late 30s, and I really didn't know I could write poetry, express myself. Like I said, I learned a lot about myself after finding God. I learned so much about myself, and I had so much inside of me. And, it's different because my poetry is kind of different because I write, about different types of topics. Like, I write about the angelic war, and I write about heaven. I even have dark poems where I write about hell and, kind of what it's like and dream-based. So I don't, what it kind of just came to me. I wasn't expecting it. It just kind of came to me. But when it came to me, it hit me like a ton of bricks. When I started writing my first poem, bam, I was addicted. And then, the next thing I got hundreds of poems laying around. I even got my second book that I'm really done with. I'm just waiting to get it published. But I'm just putting some finishing touches on it. And it has over about 120 poems. So after my first poem, I was just hooked, but I honestly didn't know I was a poet. It took me a long time to find myself. And when I finally did, I accepted it. And man, everything just seemed to take off from there.
Oh, okay. Now, what advice would you give to poets that may not necessarily be beginners, but they could be, like, say, doing spoken word, but they want to get their poetry published? What advice would you give to them?
Okay, be careful for the different publishing companies, because there's a lot of publishing companies that when I was doing my research for the first one I found, it's called Author House, but they're, I guess their book was all right, but you have to be careful because some of them will take your money, won't do the work, they want payment. So you have to be careful, make sure it's accredited, look at the reviews. You got to watch out for yourself, because there's a lot of people that are going to try and take advantage of your dreams and try and rip you off. So that's the number one thing. You got to really look out with these big companies, because a lot of them don't really care about your book. All they care about is you paying them so that they can publish it and just getting money from you. So my advice would be maybe even to start out with like some small project, like a small poem with maybe 8 or 10 poems in it, and go to a local publisher, one that you can actually see their work, and always look at their work before you decide to do anything with them. Make sure their work is right the way you like it, and just make sure they're credited. But be very careful, because a lot of people try and take advantage of you and your dream. And a lot of these big companies, it's more about the money rather than the poet. They can care less about whether your book sells or not. They just want you to pay to publish it, and they want to pay you, you to pay for more copies. So it's more of a business. And I think poetry is different. It's more of a personal thing. You tell about experiences. You express yourself. It's an art form. And like I said, just people, they try and profit too much. So just be careful from that. But I think they call it a chapbook down here in Orlando. Just try maybe a little one with 10, 12 poems, and try that a little bit to see how that works out. And then, you could talk about maybe a bigger book, later on.
Okay. So you say start small and then go bigger.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, Gilbert, did you first self-publish, or did you get a publishing company to buy your work, or you self-published, hired a publishing company to do the distribution? How did you go about it?
Yeah, I self-published. In the beginning with it, you're going to have to put money into, you're going to have to invest in yourself. That's part of it. Really, nobody will for you. And, poetry is a little different. It's not as popular as music. It's spoken word is starting to increase big time. So it's getting up there. But, sometimes it's more difficulty trying to get an audience to actually listen to poetry when they're expecting rap or something like that.
Oh, okay. All right, Batman, you have some questions? And then I can come back to Gilbert.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, before we talk, we're going to go ahead and play one of his selections, and then we can have him, elaborate on it a little bit, okay? So this one
all right.
is actually poetry number 6. So he didn't send titles with it, but he can tell us what it is after we finish listening to it, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Live Jazz Experience on Positive Power WXI with Jerry Wills Live Worldwide Ministries. And now our special guest is Gilbert Saenz out of Florida, and this is his piece, and he will talk about it after we finish playing it. So stay tuned.
You are listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
Poetry is not dead. as long as poems continue to be read. From the creativity parts of a poet's head, poetry says things that need to be said. Poetry can be part of a biblical scripture. Poets use words as canvas to paint a clear picture. Poetry is an art form of literature. In poetry, we talk about our emotions and feelings, yet others talk about their struggles and how to break through glass ceilings. For a poet, words are like gold, and through them, our stories are told. The art of poetry will never die. Through new generations, poems will only multiply, withstanding fate as time passes by. Poetry is not dead as long as thoughts keep flowing through our head, and through poetry, our messages are spread. Poetry inspires every book and quote as it comes out of a poet's throat, bringing us new ideas that we can invoke. Poets write about their struggles and dreams, and throughout history, poets are the most amazing human beings. Poetry is in every corner and occupies every space. Poetry is that place where poets express the hard times they face. Poetry is alive as far as the eye can see. It's the basic foundation for describing humanity. Poetry's popularity may go up and down, but as long as there is sound, poetry will always be around. God can express his words through a poet's writing, and through poetry, it's God's words we are reciting. The echoes of poetry can be heard through eternity, like the Holy Trinity, creating words that last through infinity. Poetry leaves an imprint in time, with words that define exactly what is going on in our mind. It's a form of communication describing mankind. With poetry, we are able to express all of our stress and explain how we survive this world's mess. Still able to pass time's test as we confess and address the mistakes we made along the way. Poetry isn't going anywhere. It's here to stay. Poetry is not dead, and I'm living proof. Through my words, I let loose an ambitious social recluse. Poetry is a form of mind stimulation. We use word segregation to send a message to the next generation. Poetry is not dead, so don't even start to grieve. Poetry is still alive as long as poets still breathe. The death of poetry is nowhere in sight. It still has a pulse as long as we read it every night. Poetry will live forever because it's here to stay. Poetry is not dead. It will never go away.
You're listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
All right. That was so awesome. All right, Gilbert. Well, my question is, tell us a little bit about that piece, man. What inspired you to write that?
It's basically how passionate I am about poetry. I wanted to write something that represented poetry, something strong. I want to send a really strong message about poetry, and it's true because even long after I'm dead, the words that I put together in my poetry, it will always live on. And even the famous poets that passed on now, their pieces still live on, and we still live on through our words. And to me, poetry is a powerful thing, and I just wanted to write a poem that was strong and that represent poetry and what poetry is about. And what I said is right. Poetry is not going away because it's only getting stronger. Spoken word is getting bigger. There are bigger events. More people are getting into it. It's starting to. I believe it's the next phase to start to catch on. I just wanted to represent poetry in general, and it's so hard because everybody's poetry kind of reflects them, a piece of them. Like me, my poetry, a piece of me is in almost every one of my writings, and I just wanted to express that. And I just wanted to send a strong message about poetry and how strong like the words are, And, the legacy of poetry, it will never die. It will be here long after, we're gone. It's still occupy the earth, and I just wanted to write something big that just something that can represent what poetry is to me, and I wanted to put my personal touch kind of all over it. And of course, I can't help but God coming out in every one of my poems, because it's only through His grace that I'm able to even write them. So yeah, man, I just really wanted to represent and be passionate and strong message about poetry with that song.
Amen.
With that track.
Amen. And you've been at it for a minute too, Gibbon. I know you said it's kind of, it's kind of tranquil for you, man. I know sometimes they always tell people, put your thoughts on paper. When you're on that journey, sometimes people, they keep too much inside them, and they always recommend write it down. So what does it feel like, especially at the level that you are now? Because I know you've been performing for years. You've been on Facebook Live for a few years. Tell us a little bit. So what's your audience been like lately since you've been, doing the live shows, offline and online? How they receive you?
It actually started to pick up now, because before, and it's funny because even throughout my life, I always felt that I wasn't heard. My voice was never heard, and through poetry, my voice is heard, and I mean it's picking up. The first 3 days, I know we're doing Gilbert Times Poetry on YouTube and Facebook. And in Facebook, I got about 9.1, close to 10,000 views on Facebook.
Wow.
And on YouTube, I got about I do reached the 5,000. I think I got a little over 5,000 views on there too, and they keep picking up. So, it's the audience. You kind of had to invest a lot. A lot of promotion, but it's just basically getting yourself out there. And if you have something that's catching on, it'll catch on, I believe. And so my audience is getting bigger. This is kind of new because this album will be the first time that I've ever had my poems to track. So this is kind of uncharted territory for me. But I mean, it's picking up fast because I put it out there. And like I said, between both, I got about 14 and a couple hundred views, 14,000 and a couple hundred views, so, it's starting to pick up fast too as you get more exposure. And, like I said, it's all about the product you put out there.
Right.
And I'm confident because this album that I did, it's 10 tracks, but I put my heart and soul in all 10 of them, and you're getting 10 quality tracks, like the one you got there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how my audience is yet, so it's starting to grow on me now. But I hope to find out soon, and I hope to connect with anyone. Just the fact that people are paying attention to me, that's what really means the most to me, that I'm expressing God's words through my poetry and people are actually listening to it. That means more to me than anything.
That's right. That's right. And the main thing is this, just to stay out there because, just like a artist, R&B, gospel, jazz, you have to be out there so people can say, oh, wow, I really like that artist. I need to follow them. And next thing you know, you keep putting out material and they're with you along on the ride, like anything. One of the things I've been noticing, with some of the artists, even some of your mainstream, I know Alicia Keys had released, I think, a visual showcase on her poetry, and even one of the artists that hosts one of our podcasts on Monday, Reese, he started out as a poet, and later on someone told her, said, "Hey, you're actually writing the lyrics to a song," and that's how she got into writing her own music, and she has pretty great jazzy flavor to her gospel music too. If you guys had a chance to listen to her. I know she's been on this show before, so I know Jazzman familiar with her. So so tell us too, man, what kind of inspired you to want to go to the next level? I always feel like, doing live shows is kind of like, that's kind of what everybody want, to be in front of an audience. But now you jump past all that. You did a visual piece, you did a video, and now you got the album. So what's next? Yeah. What's next after this? I mean, is this, you going to ride this wave for a while, or you got another bigger picture?
Actually, I got many more albums because I got a lot of poems. So I got many. I'm already my next album. I'm already going to get started on. I want to see how this one goes first, but it's called Lucid Dream. and that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be working on. It's going to be my next project, but I want to see how it goes. The people enjoy it, and I get a good results. You know what? I'm going to keep putting more and more and more out there because I got so much of this poetry, and it's just it's like inside of me coming out, and just being able to spread God's word. That just gives me the awesomest feeling in the world.
Amen. All right, and that's the key, man, to keep putting the products out there. Wow, I had another question for you, but I think we're gonna go ahead and go to another piece before we run out of time. So this next piece is, I think it was title number 8, if I'm not mistaken. Did you have a title to that one?
Oh yeah, Sparkle from Her Soul, I believe.
Okay.
You're gonna like this. This is one of my favorites.
All right. Before we go to the next song, you got another question, Jazz Man?
Yeah, Gilbert, I got another question. When you write a poem, what motivates you? I mean, does it just come to you just like that? Do you get the title first, or do you get words, then the title? Exactly what you to write?
You know what? That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. A lot of my poems are dream-based. Sometimes, because I have a hard time sleeping, so sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night with an urge to write, and I'll start writing them. And I'll start on a poem, like be possessed, like a madman. And some of them I can't sleep until I actually write something, and then I wake up and kind of clean it up a little bit. But a lot of mine just dream-based. A lot of things, is inspired by, maybe I might hear a song too that kind of got me thinking in a certain type of way, and then bam, I'm thinking a poem. But a lot of my poems are inspired like by dreams, are kind of dream based. Like my journey through hell, I kind of write about a nightmare, that I've seen, and things like that. So it's kind of dream based, and sometimes maybe from maybe I'm feeling a certain type of way, and my feelings or emotions are just, I'm just feeling horrible, and I have to just sit down and I start writing. And when I write, it's like I feel better, and I'm just able to really get into it. And you can't give me a stop once I get started on the poem.
Okay, that's interesting. And you write the words first, then the title, or
but no, it's funny because like before I used to think of like a subject or something like that, and I start writing, and then I thought title. Sometimes I think of a title. There's one called Authenticity that I did where it doesn't, usually I have like a main hook in the word, like the title I'll say a couple of times and have a hook. Authenticity, the poem's about being yourself, and I don't have no hook, and I don't say the word, I don't say it once during the poem. I guess that's why it's authentic. But usually, it just comes in whatever orders, and when it comes to me, it comes hard. It won't let me sleep. I'll have to write before I go to sleep, because otherwise my mind will be racing and I won't be able to sleep. So, I mean, it depends how it comes to you. It just hits you. It hits me like in spurts, it'll hit me in spurts. But yeah, sometimes I just write a paragraph down and I'll sit on it for a couple months, and then I'll come back to it later, just look at, start reading it, and then bam, so every poem's kind of unique because it's kind of brought up in different ways. So for me, there's really no really order. Sometimes I do it, I write it first, or sometimes I already have the poem. So to me, it's kind of back and forth,
All right.
Okay.
All right.
That's interesting.
All right. So we got 2 more selections, so we're going to try to get them in.
It comes to you in your dream.
Yeah, dream based. A lot of them.
All right. You guys ready? Because we got 2 more pieces.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go.
All right.
I saw the sparkle from her soul glistening from behind her beautiful eyes. It's that surprise that lies behind the blue skies, beyond the clouds where the past dies. The passion coming from her body is like fuel for my heart, slowly igniting my sensual spark. Her love holds together my heart, and her soul is the light that guides me through the dark. The power of her touch and softness of her skin. But what blows me away is her beauty from within. Her love is like lightning, and her voice is a thunder. Because she pulls me under her spell. Her love freed my heart from its own living hell. I romance her like a stone. Her love has blown me away. She is my sun, lighting up my day. The sparkle from her soul shining so bright. And through her body, I could see God's light. The softness of her body, so wet and tight. Our lips locked together inside the cold, dark night. Been hurt so many times that my emotions are numb. And every time my heart gets broken, I feel so dumb. The beauty that she possesses goes beyond her beautiful dresses. She looks like an angel, a beautiful goddess. Her love made my life an emotional mess, but with her around, I feel so blessed. And when it comes to being a friend, she is the best. The sparkle from her like a star shining in the night. When she puts her arms around my body, everything will be alright. I want her to hold me tight and go sleep next to her every single night. Describing her beauty, I honestly don't know where to begin. When she walks in the room, it takes away the oxygen. Every time I look at her body, I sin. But life is a battle where sometimes temptations win. Two souls united by a common bond. And the memories of their love will always live on. Even when our souls are gone, the love that was created still remains strong. The energy from our love, so pure and divine, withstanding the elements of past and time. The sparkle from her soul when I look into her eyes. The passion and lust is just all a disguise. The sparkle from her soul shining so bright. Her love is a star, brighten up my life.
You're listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
All right, so we got another one. So we want everybody to stay tuned. We got one more piece.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. So Gilbert, real quick, tell everybody where they can find your poetry.
Yeah, go to Gilbert Saenz, my last name Saenz, poetry. You can go on YouTube, you can subscribe, and you can go on Facebook. I have a fan page there, and if you want to send me any messages, you can kind of contact me through there as well. And then my album is called The Heart of a God, and it will be released on December 20th through all major platforms. And I actually had somebody actually produced the track, and I want to give him a shout out. Bryce Woodson, thank you. He's actually he's the one that came up with the background music, and he's also the one that's helping me promote it as well too. He's kind of running my Facebook page for me, and so but yeah, you can. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from anybody that's a fan. I would love to hear from you, and yeah, if you could shoot me an email there.
Amen. All right.
All right.
Okay, we're about to play the next selection, so hold tight, everybody. You're listening to Positive Power, XXI Christian Media on Facebook Live and Spreaker, and you catch us also on iHeart, Google Play, and Spotify, and iTunes. So hold tight, everybody.
Poetry is not dead as long as poems continue to be read. From the creativity parts of a poet's head, poetry says things that need to be said. Poetry can be part of a biblical scripture. Poets use words as canvas to paint a clear picture. Poetry is an art form of literature. In poetry, we talk about our emotions and feelings, yet others talk about their struggles and how to break through glass ceilings. For a poet, words are like gold, and through them our stories are told. The art of poetry will never die. Through new generations, poems will only multiply, withstanding fate as time passes by. Poetry is not dead as long as thoughts keep flowing through our head. And through poetry, our messages are spread. Poetry inspires every book and quote as it comes out of a poet's throat, bringing us new ideas that we can invoke. Poets write about their struggles and dreams. And throughout history, poets are the most amazing human beings. Poetry is in every corner and occupies every space. Poetry is that place where poets express the hard times they face. Poetry is alive as far as the eye can see. It's the basic foundation for describing humanity. Poetry's popularity may go up and down, but as long as there is sound, poetry will always be around. God can express his words through a poet's writing. And through poetry, it's God's words we are reciting. The echoes of poetry can be heard through eternity, like the Holy Trinity, creating words that last through infinity. Poetry leaves an imprint in time with words that define exactly what is going on in our mind. It's a form of communication describing mankind. With poetry, we are able to express all of our stress and explain how we survive this world's mess. Still able to pass time's test as we confess and address the mistakes we made along the way. Poetry isn't going anywhere. It's here to stay. Poetry is not dead, and I'm living proof. Through my words, I let loose an ambitious social recluse. Poetry is a form of mind stimulation. We use word segregation to send a message to the next generation. Poetry is not dead, so don't even start to grieve. Poetry is still alive as long as poets still breathe. The death of poetry is nowhere in sight. It still has a pulse as long as we read it every night. Poetry will live forever because it's here to stay. Poetry is not dead. It will never go away.
Can you feel the power?
All right, that was awesome. Gilbert,
What's that title, Gilbert?
Poetry is not dead.
poetry is not
I
dead.
like that.
Yeah, that's the first the
Kind of that was the acapella.
acapella. The piece we played before that one, it was talking about the young lady. I think I remember that one. Didn't you write that one a couple years ago?
You know what? I did that one on your last Valentine show, and I remember that one because a lot of like the times like what sets my love poems is they're not about me. You know, there's a lot of beautiful girls out there, and you know, just beautiful personalities, beautiful everything, and I try to write about the girl. I always never like. On one of my love poems, you'll never hear like, "Oh, my love is the best," you know, stuff like that, because it's never about me. All my love poems are about the girls, and the girls. That's what makes the love poem so beautiful. Their beauty and me writing about it is what makes the love poem so beautiful. So that's kind of like my main thing with the love poems, because sometimes I go to different events and I hear, you know, people saying love poems and my love will do this and do that. And you know what I mean? It's not about, you know, the beat of love, really. You know, it's more, you know, it's more, I guess, commercialized or trying to pick somebody up. But I wanted to write love poems that, you know, that define the essence, the beauty of love. You know, just everything about the girl. You know, her beautiful face, her beautiful personality, her heart. You know, and I write about connecting through God and things like that. You know, that's kind of how, you know, that's one of the main things about my love poem that I always try and emphasize it. And it's funny because I could go to a show and perform and see a girl with a beautiful face and be inspired to write a beautiful love poem just about that. Just by seeing her face, I could just get inspired and write one of my best love poems. So, you know, it's always about, you know, it's about the ladies and how beautiful they are, both inside and out, and being able to write that down. That's what, you know, that's what makes my love poems, you know, the way they are.
Yeah, awesome.
That's well put. Very well put.
That's right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're running out of time, so we want to give you a few minutes to tell everybody where they can find you. If you have any upcoming showcases, spoken word events, please let us know.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna be because I'm just getting back on my feet. So this coming up Tuesday, I'm gonna be at Diverse World in Orlando, downtown Orlando. It's one of the longest running the longest running open mic in Orlando. It's really popular. It's outdoors, so it might be a little cold. My friend Sean Welcome hosts that, so I'll probably be there Tuesday. And then on Wednesday night, I'm probably going to hit up Austin in Winter Park. That's a little bit past Orlando, so if you're visiting for the weekend around Disney World, it's a little bit north of Orlando, like about 10 miles north or just a couple miles north of Orlando. And it's called Austin's Coffee Shop, so I'll be hitting that open mic as well on Wednesday. That's kind of the first one where I started out at. I did my very first performance there, so I always have a warm place in my heart for that open mic. So I'll be there, and then other than that, my album will be out on the 20th. So I'm just really excited about that, and I'm really working hard on promoting it and trying to get it out there.
Amen. Amen. All right. Any final words, DJ Jazzman, before we close the broadcast down?
Well, Gilbert, I wish you the best. All your future endeavors. I'm definitely gonna be following you and being in contact because I'm looking to get in the future. Yeah, because I'm looking to get some of my poems. Well, put together a poetry book for my poems, and I did have one more question, but we'll be talking later on about that in terms of the spoken word. But yeah, I wish you the best. I like where your mind and your heart is. That's the perfect time, the heart of a God. I like that.
That's right.
Thank you, Dad, man. And it was a pleasure meeting you tonight too, man. It's wonderful being on, and we'll definitely off the air. We'll get each other's contact information and definitely keep in contact.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Yeah. So what's the temperature in Orlando by the way now anyway?
What? I'm sorry. What is it?
What's the temperature in Orlando right now? What's the weather like?
Oh, well, I'm not going to say cold because you guys are going to laugh at me, but it's going to be in the 40s tonight, and that's cold for us. Anything below 55 is cold for us, but it's going to be in the 40s, I think, for tonight. It's been like that. It's been like in the 40s at night and about maybe 70 during the daytime, 70-something during the daytime when the sun's out. When it goes down, oh, my gosh, it gets cold quick.
Yeah, that's what we got right now, low 40s, upper 30s. All right, well, we got to get out of here, guys. We got to make room for Late Night with Dr. Trinell's coming up next at 9:30. So thank you.
9:25.
That's right. Thank you so much, Mr. Gilbert. We appreciate you. Thank you, Jazz Man. And our audience, please stay tuned for Late Night with Dr. Trinell. And we're going to end the show with another piece about Gilbert Signs.
Poetry is not dead as long as poems continue to be read. From the creativity parts of a poet's head, poetry says things that need to be said. Poetry can be part of a biblical scripture. Poets use words as canvas to paint a clear picture. Poetry is an art form of literature. In poetry, we talk about our emotions and feelings, yet others talk about their struggles and how to break through glass ceilings. For a poet, words are like gold, and through them, our stories are told. The art of poetry will never die. Through new generations, poems will only multiply, withstanding fate as time passes by. Poetry is not dead as long as thoughts keep flowing through our head. And through poetry, our messages are spread. Poetry inspires every book and quote as it comes out of a poet's throat, bringing us new ideas that we can invoke. Poets write about their struggles and dreams. And throughout history, poets are the most amazing human beings. Poetry is in every corner and occupies every space. Poetry is that place where poets express the hard times they face. Poetry is alive as far as the eye can see. It's the basic foundation for describing humanity. Poetry's popularity may go up and down, but as long as there is sound, poetry will always be around. God can express his words through a poet's writing, and through poetry, it's God's words we are reciting. The echoes of poetry can be heard through eternity, like the Holy Trinity, creating words that last through infinity. Poetry leaves an imprint in time, with words that define exactly what is going on in our mind. It's a form of communication describing mankind. With poetry, we are able to express all of our stress and explain how we survive this world's mess. Still able to pass time's test as we confess and address the mistakes we made along the way. Poetry isn't going anywhere. It's here to stay. Poetry is not dead, and I'm living proof. Through my words, I let loose an ambitious social recluse. Poetry is a form of mind stimulation. We use word segregation to send a message to the next generation. Poetry is not dead, so don't even start to grieve. Poetry is still alive as long as poets still breathe. The death of poetry is nowhere in sight. It still has a pulse as long as we read it every night. Poetry will live forever because it's here to stay. Poetry is not dead. It will never go away.
Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power? Feel the power of Double XI.
Positive Power 21.org Internet Radio.
You are listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide.